In the world of WWE, where fiery suplexes light up the ring and the spotlight never fades, Paige, also known as Saraya, has been more than just a queen of the squared circle. She's been the center of countless love stories marked by sweetness, scandal, and controversy. From the backstage halls of NXT to the blazing lights of rock concerts, her romantic life has often been more dramatic than a WrestleMania main event. Today, Wrestling Sphere takes you on a journey through the ever-turbulent love life of Paige, a story filled with passion, heartbreak, and personal growth. Alberto Del Rio. When it comes to the most controversial relationships in WWE history, the tumultuous romance between Paige and Alberto Del Rio is impossible to ignore. This wasn't just a love story that stirred up headlines, it became a stain on both of their careers. A relationship marked by controversy, violence, and darkness. Their story began in May 2016, back when both were still competing under Vince McMahon's WWE. From the very start, the relationship raised eyebrows. There was a noticeable age gap. Del Rio was in his 30s, while Paige was just in her early 20s, and Del Rio already carried a reputation for backstage drama and instability. The couple made things official on social media when Del Rio posted a photo of the two together with a sweet caption on Instagram. The WWE Universe was immediately in shock. Just 2 months later, WWE held a major brand split. Curiously, Del Rio was drafted to SmackDown, while Paige was moved to Raw. Many believed this was WWE's subtle way of interfering in their personal lives. Paige responded swiftly on Snapchat, writing, "WWE's trying to split us up, that's not gonna happen." Rather than calming the storm, her statement only added fuel to the fire. Things took a turn for the worse in August 2016 when both were suspended for violating WWE's wellness policy. This was a clear sign that the relationship wasn't just raising concerns with fans, it was becoming a problem behind the scenes. Del Rio publicly accused the company of trying to destroy both him and Paige, while Paige found herself entangled in controversy after controversy. Paige was hit with 2 separate suspensions in 2016. The first, in August, she claimed was due to a procedural error. WWE allegedly failed to properly explain the required medical paperwork. But the second, in October, was far more serious. She was caught using a banned substance. At the same time, she was battling a severe neck injury and had just gotten engaged to Del Rio, plunging her into one of the most chaotic periods of her personal and professional life. Paige's personal life spiraled into chaos. In several interviews later on, she openly admitted that this was the darkest period of her life. She spoke candidly about battling addiction and the overwhelming loneliness she felt while enduring pressure from fans, family, and fellow wrestlers. Amid the emotional storm, during a match at WWC Aniversario 43 in Puerto Rico, Paige shocked everyone by getting down on one knee and proposing to Del Rio in front of thousands of fans. It was a spontaneous moment, one that perfectly captured her reckless, rebellious spirit. But the consequences were serious. At the time, Del Rio was still in the process of divorcing his ex-wife, Angela Velka. After accepting Paige's proposal, he was immediately hit with a lawsuit for adultery. What had started as a highly public relationship now became a full-blown legal battle, and a scandal splashed across headlines everywhere. Peace was never part of this relationship. In 2016, Paige was detained by police in Las Vegas following a public altercation, adding yet another incident to the growing list of controversies. Their image was increasingly tied to instability, both emotional and behavioral. WWE soon terminated Del Rio's contract, while Paige's career took a nosedive as she kept getting caught in scandal after scandal. In 2017, they officially got married, but the marriage barely lasted a year. Rather than being a fresh start, it only made things worse. Though they frequently posted affectionate pictures on social media, the reality behind the scenes was far from ideal. Heated arguments were common, and not all of them happened in private. The most serious incident occurred in July 2017 at Orlando International Airport. A loud altercation between Del Rio and Paige drew police intervention. Del Rio was found with scratches on his neck, while Paige denied any physical violence. Audio recordings captured both of them yelling and throwing harsh accusations. Del Rio shouted for Paige to stay away, while she fired back, saying he was the one who wouldn't let go. The incident was treated as a case of domestic violence, though Paige later released a statement claiming it was nothing more than a heated verbal argument. By November that year, their relationship officially ended. Paige subtly confirmed the breakup through a Snapchat video captioned, "Being single sucks, but being free is amazing." However, the drama didn't end there. Instead, it escalated into a full-blown media and legal war. In 2020, Paige dropped a bombshell accusation, revealing that she had suffered physical abuse throughout their time together. She described being locked in rooms for hours, repeatedly beaten, and living in constant fear. Paige called that period a cycle of abuse, where she felt completely powerless over her own life. Del Rio was quick to respond, denying everything and claiming that he was actually the real victim. He alleged that Paige had abused him instead and insisted he had proof to back it up. He even threatened to sue her for violating a $1 million non-disclosure agreement they had previously signed. The back and forth quickly caught fire in the media, with every detail from both sides being dissected publicly. Paige's family also stepped in. Her two brothers, Zach Zodiac and Roy Bevis, publicly condemned Del Rio, calling him an abuser and a manipulator who mentally tormented their sister. They expressed relief that the relationship had finally ended. But the damage it left behind was deep, something not easily healed. To make matters worse, Del Rio found himself in even more legal trouble in 2020 when he was accused of kidnapping and sexually assaulting another woman. These grave charges only darkened public perception of him and, in many eyes, lent weight to Paige's earlier claims. In the end, Paige and Del Rio's relationship wasn't just a failed romance. It was a prolonged saga of pain, accusations, and legal battles. It exposed the harsh realities behind the glitz and glamour of the wrestling world, where not just the spotlight, but also the shadows backstage, can break a person. For Paige, it's a chapter she'd rather erase, but its echoes remain, serving as a stark warning to anyone stepping into the so-called world of sports entertainment. Brad Maddox, Xavier Woods, and Paige's backstage romances that shook WWE. Paige was once the face of WWE's new generation, an anti-diva in every sense of the word, rebellious, bold, and unapologetically different. While she revolutionized women's wrestling in the ring, her personal life behind the curtain was just as intense and chaotic as any feud she ever had on TV. Since her early days in NXT in the early 2010s, Paige stood out, not just for her in-ring talent, but also for her distinctive edge. Around 2013 to 2014, whispers began to spread backstage about an ambiguous relationship between Paige and Corey Graves, a former wrestler turned commentator known for his sharp, sarcastic style. The two were frequently seen together at non-televised events, sparking rumors that their connection went beyond just business. Their close interactions, lingering glances during segments, and, most notably, an accusation from Graves' then-wife Amy fanned the flames. Amy once posted a cryptic message online implying that Paige had crossed the line with her husband, though she quickly deleted it. Still, no solid proof ever surfaced, and both Paige and Graves have remained silent on the matter, never confirming or denying anything. Just as speculation was reaching a peak, another name unexpectedly entered the conversation: Brad Maddox. While not a top-tier star, Maddox played a significant role in Paige's personal life. Brad Maddox, once a WWE referee, then Raw general manager, and later a wrestler, was the first confirmed boyfriend of Paige. They reportedly began dating around 2014, when both were rising within the company. Their relationship wasn't splashed across headlines, but it caught enough attention backstage. Some WWE producers even warned Paige to keep her distance from Maddox, especially since he was holding an on-screen authority position at the time. Still, Paige chose to stay with Maddox, despite concerns from colleagues and family alike. She seemed to believe in the relationship, even when signs pointed otherwise. Maddox was eventually released from WWE in mid-2015, quietly and without the usual farewell fanfare or tribute video that most departing stars receive. The official reason? He had reportedly called the audience cocky pricks during a small live event. Later on, Dutch Mantell, a former WWE writer and creative director, revealed that Vince McMahon had wanted Brad Maddox out of the company for quite some time. According to Mantell, the rumors surrounding Maddox's relationship with Paige had drawn disapproval from WWE leadership. They viewed Maddox as someone who lacked self-control and believed he was a negative influence on a rising star like Paige. Things escalated even further in July 2016 when Paige's father, legendary wrestler Ricky Knight, publicly slammed Maddox on Facebook. He wrote, "That guy's a bad influence. My daughter needs to focus on her career. She doesn't need someone like him." A blunt statement from a concerned father, and a clear sign that Paige's family did not support the relationship at all. By late 2016, after the WWE draft split up the roster, Paige and Maddox were no longer working closely together. The distance eventually took its toll, and they quietly went their separate ways. Maddox later opened up about the breakup during a podcast, saying, "WWE made sure we couldn't go on. I don't regret it, but I do understand that in a place like WWE, being in a relationship means your personal life becomes an easy target." The most controversial leak in WWE history. In March 2017, a massive scandal rocked the wrestling world when a series of private, explicit photos and videos involving Paige, Brad Maddox, and fellow WWE superstar Xavier Woods were leaked online without the consent of anyone involved. The footage quickly went viral, becoming a firestorm across forums, social media, and even mainstream news outlets. Xavier Woods, a member of the New Day, one of WWE's top tag teams at the time, was seen in one of the leaked videos alongside Paige. While Maddox was believed to be the one filming most of the footage, Woods' appearance in a specific scene caused a media frenzy. WWE reportedly held an emergency internal meeting immediately after the leak. Paige was quietly pulled from her hosting duties at WrestleMania 33. Brad Maddox deleted all of his social media accounts and completely vanished from the public eye. WWE also began quietly removing footage of Maddox from their archives, including comedic segments like the one where he dressed as a turkey alongside The Undertaker. Fan reactions were deeply divided. Paige faced intense criticism, though many loyal fans rushed to defend her. Maddox, however, bore the brunt of the backlash, much of it centered around cruel jabs at his sexuality and private life. The derogatory term, cuck, followed his name across online spaces for months. After the leak, Paige disappeared entirely from social media. In a later interview, she revealed the emotional toll it took on her. She recalled running out of her house and hiding in bushes out of fear of being recognized. "I just wanted to die," she said. "I felt exposed to the entire world. There was nothing left to hide." Her family, especially her mother, Sweet Saraya, immediately came to her defense. "She was hacked. She's a victim. And we stand behind her no matter what," Saraya said publicly. According to Paige, it was that unconditional love and support from her family that kept her from completely falling apart. In her 2025 autobiographical audiobook, Paige reflected, "I was only 19 when those videos were made. Just a dumb young girl trying to make someone else happy. But everyone makes mistakes when they're young." Her father, Ricky Knight, even tried to lift her spirits with humor, joking, "Who knows, maybe you'll end up the next Kim Kardashian." Xavier Woods, who also appeared in the leaked footage, was not publicly disciplined by WWE. He returned to work with the New Day just weeks later. Though visibly uncomfortable, he never directly addressed the incident, aside from a tongue-in-cheek joke at the South by Southwest Gaming Awards, saying, "Delete your Twitter." His wife, Jessica, however, wasn't spared the fallout. She was harassed so badly that she deleted all of her social media accounts. Brad Maddox, on the other hand, all but disappeared from the professional wrestling scene. After being essentially erased from WWE's history, he returned to the independent circuit under the name Tyler Warner. In a 2023 podcast, he stated, "I was a victim. I didn't leak anything. But the public doesn't care about the truth. They just want someone to blame." The leak left Paige with deep emotional scars. She battled anxiety, depression, and physical decline, and at one point, she admitted to having suicidal thoughts. But through it all, she found the strength to rebuild. She re-emerged not just as an on-screen manager and media personality, but also as a strong advocate for digital privacy and anti-cyberbullying awareness. The story involving Paige, Brad Maddox, and Xavier Woods wasn't just another backstage scandal. It was a painful chapter that exposed the cruelty of public judgment. It proved that no matter how famous you are, no one is immune to mistakes. What truly matters is how you rise after the fall. Ronnie Radkkey, a 6-year love story with the soul of a rock ballad. If you thought that after all the scandals and messy breakups, Paige, now known as Saraya, would retreat into a quieter life, think again. The next man to enter her world was just as fiery and rebellious. Ronnie Radkkey, frontman of the chart-topping rock band Falling in Reverse. Their relationship feels like it was pulled straight from an alternative hit. Artistic, emotional, full of highs and lows, and anything but ordinary. The pairing of a wrestling queen and a wild rock icon quickly became something fans couldn't look away from. It all began in 2018, right after Saraya stepped away from WWE due to a serious neck injury that forced her early retirement. At the same time, Ronnie was still riding high, dominating stages with explosive performances and dropping Billboard charting tracks. They first met through a mutual friend and hit it off instantly. But it wasn't until they reconnected on social media, the modern-day matchmaker, that their real story began. From the moment they went public, the couple made waves. Their red carpet debut came at the Alternative Press Music Awards later that year. Dressed head to toe in bold black, they looked like they had stepped out of a 2000s emo movie scene. With matching vibes and a shared aesthetic, it didn't take long before people started calling them an entertainment power couple. But Ronnie and Saraya were more than just a stylish duo. They genuinely supported each other's careers. Saraya appeared in several of Falling in Reverse's music videos, embodying the image of fierce, edgy beauty. In 2024, she even lent her voice to a remix of the song Bad Guy, blending the worlds of rock and professional wrestling in a way that felt both fresh and iconic. Ronnie, in return, never hesitated to show his love and support for Saraya. He was often spotted front row at AEW shows, cheering her on every time she stepped into the ring. When Saraya made her official AEW debut, it was Ronnie's band that wrote and performed her entrance theme, a powerful collaboration that thrilled fans and made their connection feel even more special. It was clear their relationship wasn't the typical, post a photo, leave a heart, kind of love. Theirs was built on mutual understanding, shared passions, and unwavering support. Saraya often praised Ronnie publicly, calling him an inspiration and a positive force in her life. In one post, she wrote, "When the person you love turns dreams into reality, it's impossible not to be proud." Still, even the strongest couples can be worn down by time and demanding schedules. By late 2024, sharp-eyed fans began to notice subtle signs. No more sweet birthday posts, no recent photos together. Their noticeable absence from each other's social media sparked speculation. In January 2025, the rumors were finally confirmed. Ronnie took to social media to announce that he and Saraya had broken up about 3 months earlier. However, he clarified that they remained close, still talked every day, and held deep respect for one another. Saraya echoed the sentiment, saying, "We're still close, we just don't love each other in the same way anymore." The breakup wasn't caused by scandal or a third party. It was simply the result of two incredibly busy lives. Saraya was fully immersed in her AEW commitments, while Ronnie and his band were constantly touring the globe. When two artists live in the whirlwind of their careers, sometimes love has to take a back seat to ambition. True to their artistic spirits, their breakup didn't end in bitterness. There were no angry posts, no public feuds, no messy headlines. Ronnie even stepped in to ask fans to calm down and respect our privacy. As for Saraya, she openly admitted, "Now, I choose to be a little more selfish, and that doesn't mean I've stopped loving. It just means I'm learning to love myself first." Since the end of their 6-year relationship, Saraya has confirmed she's officially single. In an interview, she reflected, "I haven't truly lived for myself in nearly a decade. Now it's time to listen to my own heart." Today, Saraya is no longer the young girl once caught in the middle of scandals and heartbreak. She's a grown woman who understands the value of freedom and the peace that comes after the storm. She chooses to live with clarity, independence, and strength, ready to face whatever comes next, whether in the ring or in real life. And Ronnie? He's still commanding stages, preparing for a major tour in Australia, and diving into upcoming music projects. Though they're no longer by each other's side, the respect and support remain, true to the bond of two people who once loved deeply. The relationship between Saraya and Ronnie wasn't just another love story. It was a testament to the idea that beautiful love doesn't always need to last forever. Sometimes, it just needs to be deep enough to leave an unforgettable mark. And even though their paths have diverged, they remain two brilliant stars, each with their own stage, their own journey, and the memories of 6 fiery years that will never fade. From whirlwind romances to long-term relationships, Paige has experienced the full spectrum of love and heartbreak. But no matter who came and went, she's always remained a fighter, someone who never stopped rising back up.